All right, moving on. Moving on to the hot topics of the week. Let's start with the big one, Shevchenko. The case of the famous Kirill Shevchenko, Ukrainian player, probably the top player that ever got banned for cheating. I believe right now he's number 75 on the live rating list or something very high. A player that was close to 2,700, around 2,650 nowadays, but still very, very high. He was banned for hiding, presumably hiding a cell phone or multiple cell phones in the bathroom of the event and going into the bathroom to check it during the game. Now, there was an investigation. Apparently, he cooperated with it. He acknowledged the fact that he was using that phone, and he also said that he did not cheat, or he did not get to cheat because he got caught. Now, after a pretty thorough investigation, he got 3 years suspension. He gets to keep his title, which is a bit unusual. In the past, there's been cases, most GMs that have been cheated and have been caught cheating have had their title removed. Now, he gets to keep the title. He gets 3 years, and one of those years is with suspension. So he's basically going to be able to start playing in October 2026. Your first take on that.
Okay, so I have the article here. So the first thing is that it is not really in question that he was cheating.
He was cheating.
I mean, I think that it was already pretty clear, but basically he also admitted to it, to the best of my understanding, right? But I don't understand what this language is. It says that he did not effectively cheat. I don't know what that means. It's like you cheated, but you didn't win the game. It means you effectively didn't cheat or whatever. If you have any access to outside information during the game, you cheated. Even if you, for whatever reason, don't choose to play the move that the engine suggested. If you have any information from an outside source, you've cheated.
My understanding is that he did not get to make his moves after he looked at his phone.
What does that mean? He didn't get to make his moves?
I think the game was, he got caught in the middle of the game, and then he basically got thrown out of the tournament with the game.
Wait, but his game against Paco Vallejo, he sent an email admitting that he used a mobile phone during the game against Paco Vallejo. That game was completed, right? Well, he won the game. So again, to say didn't effectively cheat, I don't know what that means. You cheated, you saw what the engine says, and you won the game. Even if you didn't win, you still cheated. Even if you lost.
Oh yeah.
You still cheated.
No. If you're
maybe
saying
if you lost, you just look a bit more silly for cheating and losing, but you still cheated. I mean, if you get any outside information, and there are degrees to which it's bad. Like, let's say if my friend whispers a move to me during the game, that's bad. It's still not as bad as an engine, because at least like a human is fallible and can suggest a bad move. And an engine just gives you the answer. So it's like, you don't even have to think about it. But still, there are degrees, but cheating is cheating. Now, his degree was the worst. He used an engine which just tells you the answers. And it actually doesn't matter if let's say you say, I didn't effectively cheat because I decided to not play the first line of the engine. It doesn't matter, because it still helps you with the evaluation, and you know that the move you played is the second line and you have information, whatever. Besides the fact that, from like, let's say, a spiritual point of view, none of this matters. I mean, you cheat.
No. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. If he did use it during the game against Paco, then obviously he cheated. I thought basically the first time that he got caught is the first time that he cheated, and the game was pretty much annulled.
I mean, also, even if like, let's say I only cheated during the game I drew, I would also be very skeptical, because it's very common for someone who's caught to say, okay, I did it, but only this one time. And that's usually not true, right? I did it, but you did it, and you probably did it more. If you did it once, you probably did it more. Although I'm not going to speculate too much, like how much, but anyway, he admitted to cheating in the game he won. Now that's basically the end of it for me. And he denies that his actions had any influence on his games. Again, yeah, it does have influence. You can deny it all you want. You saw something from outside. It had all the influence in the world because it changes your entire perception of the game. It's cheating. So then, according to analysis by Kenneth Reagan, American professor and expert on chess cheating, there was no standard deviation of the player's performance in this tournament from its typical performance rating. I'll respond to this, although I'm not a mathematician, and Kenneth Reagan is, and I don't know much about statistics, but the first thought I would have is that it might not have standard deviation from his rating, which was achieved perhaps. I don't know, but if someone has cheated, then their rating is called into question in the first place. So that data point might already be kind of corrupted, right? And also, my other thing would be if we know that someone has cheated and your analysis says I couldn't find them cheating, then it might be an issue with your analysis, right? That's the other thing, because we actually know, like they admitted to it. So that might just be a sign that you're not effectively determining from their moves that they did do what they admitted they did. And then the question is about the sentence, right? That's the main question.
Yeah, that's a big question. So I think the Ethics and Disciplinary Commission gave him 3 years, one of them being suspended. And the Fair Play Commission, FIDE's Fair Play Commission, is not very happy with that. A lot of people are not very happy with that, thinking that it's too lenient. My understanding is that it's, well, I guess my, the way I see it, it's too lenient. He should have gotten more. It's an existential threat. We cannot treat it like, okay, you cheat. Who knows how much you cheated? Who knows for how many games you cheated? You got caught, and now you get only 2 years. It feels a bit lenient. I understand the circumstances. I think he was saying that he had mental health problems. He was receiving threats, which is obviously impactful and a big problem. And I'm sure it affected him in a certain way and perhaps influenced his decision to cheat as well. But
yeah, I don't
as a
really
sport,
understand
we cannot give him
why
2 years.
I mean, I saw this bit. Like, why was he receiving death threats? I mean, obviously that's horrible.
This is
but
probably related to the war in Ukraine. So obviously there's.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously horrible. Like if your family is potentially in danger.
Yeah,
because there's a war in your country. I mean, I'm very sympathetic. That's that would affect anyone. I mean, that's like I can really sympathize with that he wasn't in a good mental place for reasons which are fair, you know.
Absolutely,
that's basically the worst thing that can happen, right? That you're afraid of your family's safety.
100%. Yeah.
Still, death threats to me is like kind of surprising, but they say they saw video evidence that he was receiving death threats.
It seems to be credible. Yes, it seems to be credible.
It's really, really bad that he had to go through that. And it's like I can personally forgive. I mean, it's okay. It's not even my place really to forgive, but that's someone like it. You know, we all make mistakes. He did something stupid. Maybe while he was in a tough spot. And I can sympathize with that, but it's still a general issue in chess. And then if we're just like very understanding all the time,
it's a huge problem. I cannot.
It does create a problem for chess. So you have to kind of balance that out. Like, I don't want to be super harsh on someone who maybe doesn't deserve real harshness. Like maybe he doesn't deserve that. Maybe he's a good guy and
2 years
whatever.
Too low.
And, you know, just a mistake, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's like we do have to protect the sport, and we can't consider every case like, okay, there was this reason, there was that reason. So yeah, I don't know. It is a tough one for sure, because I don't think that he would probably cheat again. But still, we can't make it so that there's no punishment for cheating, because it has to also be a deterrent, right?
Yeah,
and it's not like you're necessarily ruining someone's life. I mean, you can't play chess. Okay, it's kind of the price you pay for violating the rules of the sport and the sanctity of the sport. I am somewhat sympathetic because I'm like reasonably certain that cheating goes on a lot, at least online. And for me, there is no real distinction between online cheating or the board cheating. I think it's the same seriousness. And the difference is that online, you're less likely to get caught because you can't really, in this case, they caught him because, and only because, there was hard evidence, right? There was a phone. And online, you don't really have that. You don't have a smoking gun. It's usually based on some data and looking for patterns that don't make sense. And in this case, we saw that they actually wouldn't have caught him with the data they had because they determined there was no deviation, right? But the way they caught him was with hard evidence, which you don't get online. And I think it's a bit unfair not unfair. It's a bit unfair. I don't know if that's the right word, but that someone is punished very harshly for something that a lot of people are doing with no punishment, and perhaps winning more money while they do it than he did. On the other hand, if you cheat, then you kind of deserve it. And
so the moral of the story is don't get caught.
No, I mean, you have to set a precedent. We kind of did set a precedent, but now it's a bit weird to me. It's like Rousis got banned for, how long was Rousis banned for?
I want to say 5 years, but he also got stripped of his title.
I mean, he
got stripped of his title, like Nikolidze as well. Like Nikolidze got stripped of his title as well. So the precedent was set that you get caught like that, red-handed, you get stripped of your title. He didn't. And also like larger punishments.
Okay, 6 year ban.
6 years, yeah. I don't know how much Nikolidze got, but I would assume somewhere around there. 2 years just feels too lenient to me. I would expect 5 years at least. You don't want to take his title because it's first time offense and
3 years.
Only 3 years. Okay, Nikolidze only got 3 years. That's interesting.
Now, to me, it's like, okay, I understand that Shevchenko is a strong grandmaster. So it would also be like he did achieve his grandmaster title in a legitimate way. Again, I don't know this for sure, but
I mean, you've played him in the Grand Chess Tour. Yeah. He's not a bad player.
A few games. Yeah. But of course he was a strong grandmaster, 2600 plus grandmaster, maybe even high 2600 strength. I don't know the extent of how much he was cheating, but definitely a strong 26 plus grandmaster. And probably 2650 plus. Let's just say that that's very likely the case, that he was a 2650 plus, top 100 in the world. On the other hand, Rousis was also legitimately achieved his grandmaster title. If I were in charge of this, I wouldn't revoke a title, because unless it was determined that this title was achieved through these unfair means, I would say, okay, we have to kind of find an appropriate punishment, and also, in case this is like a serial cheater, protect our sport in some way. And a 5-year ban does feel reasonable. Now, in this case, it's a 3-year ban, but 1 year for some reason is suspended, and they already consider time served, which, again, to me, it's like, okay, he was free to play, right? Wasn't he? Or
no, I don't think so. No. He was
okay. In that case, maybe it makes sense.
He was on a 75-day ban in between.
The 1 year suspended is a bit like, one thing that kind of came to mind for me is that I've worked with players who have changed federations, and they weren't able to play because of that
for 2 years.
Yeah, like they weren't able to play the World Cup, for example.
Big events for 2 years. I mean, it's crazy. I understand.
Unless you pay some, like, let's say I worked with Lanier, right? He was a 2750 player. He changed federations. He couldn't play in like the official FIDE tournaments, like let's say the World Cup, the World Championship cycle. And effectively, he didn't play for quite a while. His career got paused for that period of time, despite, of course, that he did nothing wrong. And it does feel like this is the same situation, except one person was cheating and one person did absolutely nothing wrong. But they still more or less got a pause on their career for this period of like, about 2 years.
Yeah.
Like August of 2026 is really,
it's not far.
For me, time goes very fast. Yeah. It doesn't feel like that far away.
October
I can imagine
2026, but yes.
Sorry, October you said?
Yeah, I think it's October.
Okay. I mean, the Grand Chess Tour happens this year. The Grand Chess Tour happens next year. So we're there. I think if I decided to not play chess until October of 2026, obviously I would miss out on the candidates. It wouldn't be great. But for someone who's not playing the candidates, I don't know, would it change your career so drastically? You'd miss out on money for a while.
He's not allowed to play. He's not allowed to play anything, right? Like he's not allowed to play any open tournaments. He's not allowed to play pretty much anything at this point. Any FIDE events, I would assume anything that's sanctioned, even not by FIDE, like US chess. Sure, even if it's like a US chess, I would assume he's not allowed to play. But I don't know for sure.
I don't even know. Would they notice that? They probably
somebody would notice. Somebody would definitely.
He played like some small opens and somewhere in Kansas.
Somebody definitely will notice.
I'm kind of sympathetic in some ways. I'm generally feel like pretty forgiving if someone is very remorseful about something. But okay, we do have to also protect the sport. It's difficult. It's a real issue in the sport. I mean, what can you do? Nobody's happy about the whole thing. So, yeah, I feel like the ban is pretty lenient considering. But I do hope that when he comes back, that he'll integrate into chess and not have to resort to cheating.
Most people don't. Most people, once they get banned, like the case of Feller, I think Nikolice, I've never seen him back. Rausis obviously gave up, and
Rausis passed away.
Unfortunately, passed after that. But he basically said that he's done with chess. Like immediately after he got caught, he said that he's done with chess. So most people don't get reintegrated. There's obviously a stain, and it's going to be very difficult for him to come back, even socially. Like socially get back, and once you're an admitted cheater. So yeah, that's obviously.
Trust me, there are a lot of non-admitted cheaters out there.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. As long as you deny, and as long as you don't get caught, you might be able to hang around for a while. So that's the situation with Shevchenko. Obviously, 2 years seems too lenient.